This episode of The Rookie Hunter is sponsored by North Arm Knives. North Arm Knives are handcrafted and sold directly through a father and son team right here in British Columbia. Choose from a selection of outdoor knives, kitchen knives, and the brand new folding knife from NorthArmKnives.com. They ship internationally and guarantee all their work. Callie and I use their products and give them our stamp of approval. Go to NorthArmKnives.com. Hey guys, welcome to episode 25. This is the final episode of 2016. Before we get started here, I just want to take a minute to say thank you very much to all you guys that have been supporting the show. We launched this thing in the spring of this year, and it's grown into something that Kelly and I never saw coming. So it's really rewarding to do something that people are getting something from. We're helping rookies navigate their way through the outdoors and, giving experienced guys something to listen to too. So it's neat that we've got a pretty wide range of folks tuning into this thing and enjoying it. So as long as that continues, we're going to continue to do this. We picked up a lot of new listeners with the Ryan Callahan episode, so it's really great to see that people enjoyed that one. And to anyone that's new, welcome. We're glad to have you. I'm going to do this one last time for 2016. If you guys want to help us out, there's a couple things you can do. You can go to the iTunes store and leave us a rating or review. We picked up a lot of you folks down in the States with the Ryan Callahan episode, so we need your help more than anything. So please do that. Go to the iTunes store, leave a rating or review. The other thing you can do is just share the show through social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. You can use the hashtag RookieHunter, and we can track you down, find out what you guys have been doing out there. And you can also send us an email. Our email address is theRookieHunterPodcast@gmail.com. Send us anything. Let us know what you've been up to. Send us some photos of your harvest this year. You can suggest show ideas, send in questions, anything you want to do. Just reach out to us. We read everything we get, so don't be shy. I'd like to thank all the guests that we had on this year. There's a whole pile of them. And I'd also like to thank our sponsors. We had Dark Energy at the beginning of the year, and now we're with North Arm Knives, which is awesome. So to everybody, just thank you very much. Kelly and I are very grateful to be doing this show, and we're just really happy that people are enjoying it. So thank you very much, and all the best to you guys in 2017. Anyways, guys, let's switch it up, something different here. You can sit back, relax, and grab yourself a rum and eggnog, have some fun, enjoy the holiday season, and be safe out there. Thanks, guys. Kelly Molnar.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Cool. It's on December 20th today, and this is going to be the last podcast for the year, I think, most likely.
Yep. I am working this week, and then I'm heading back to trail on Saturday morning.
Nice. Yeah. I'm calling the 23rd my last day of work here, which is Friday.
Yeah.
So.
Are you heading to trail this year?
Yeah, we're going to go back for a wedding, actually.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be back on the 28th, and then coming back here on the 1st or 2nd or something like that. So.
Oh, okay. We'll be passing you on the highway then.
Oh, nice.
I was going to say we should go fishing in the river.
That would have been good, actually.
Yeah.
You guys come back on the 28th?
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
Be fun to get some trout. I haven't fished the Columbia in a while.
Yeah, my dad, we're down there today.
Nice.
They had some good pictures I'll show you, but just under 5 pound trout.
Beautiful.
They were pulling out of there.
Those are nice rainbows for Columbia, yeah.
The 2 males were just under 5 pounds, apparently, and just bright red stripe across them.
Nice.
Like, most of them get that kind of greenish color with the slight pink.
Yeah.
This one was more of a yellowish, and it had a bright red stripe on the side. It's pretty cool.
Cool. I'm glad your dad's taken fishing to a whole new level by the sounds of it, eh?
Yeah. Here, I'll show you this.
Oh, wow. Those are nice fish, man. That's impressive.
Oh, sneak behind this mic.
I'll toss her back to you.
You can toss it. It's got an otter box.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to maybe kind of look back at the year. We've I think we've learned a lot through this, this full year of, it's basically been a full year of hunting because we went after the black bear in the spring, and we also got this podcast started in the spring as well. So hopefully we're improving as hunters and as podcasters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
I think so on both accounts.
Hopefully. Yeah. And it's always good. We've been getting lots of feedback from people, and the Ryan Callahan episode, I think we've sort of opened up some new listeners. So if this is anybody's second episode that just discovered us through our chat with Ryan, then thanks for joining us and welcome to the show. If you haven't listened back to past episodes, Kelly and I are just going to kind of quickly rip through what we accomplished this year. The second episode, Kelly, we did was the BC wolf call.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might have to go back and re-record the intro to that one and let people know that it's sort of an evolving opinion that we have on that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just quickly, in a couple of sentences, where are you at on the whole wolf call thing?
I'm for it as long as it's driven by the science.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think the whole industry side of things still needs some attention. And even just like access, I think needs attention as well, because one of the things we saw firsthand while we were in the Kootenays there was some of those areas that we were in are open to snowmobiles and quads and stuff like that. And it was more so on the I guess it was like the east side of the range that we were hunting there, where we saw absolutely no sign, no animals or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we had talked to one of the locals, and he's like, yeah, good luck finding stuff over here because there's so much activity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a ski lodge and everything over there. So it's interesting, man, because that stuff pushes these animals out. So it's not just one thing. I think it's a combination of things. And I think all those things needed to be addressed equally. So,
yeah, I think we definitely touched on that. And that's part of the problem in gathering opinion on all this is there's so many different facets of like everything influences everything else. So it's super hard to come up with a straightforward answer. But I think like we had Jesse on, and that was one of the things he said was you got to trust the science and the biologists that are out there with their feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes total sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Cool. I think that's all we need to say on that one. The very first episode, I just skipped past that one. If anyone hasn't gone back, that's kind of where Kelly and I just let people know about our sort of backgrounds and how we got into this whole thing. So if you're curious, you can check that one out. I think it's listenable for the first episode, hopefully. On the third episode, we talked about hunting and social media. That's a thing that we've talked about a number of times. Just I don't want to talk about Cecil the Lion, but those types of things, and the rhino hunter, and even some of the women hunters who've been photographed with zebras or giraffes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that amplifies everything, right? Like the fact that it's a giraffe, and then the fact that it's a female hunter. It seems to be a double whammy, but.
And then I guess for us in BC, the thing that sets people off is bears, either black bears or grizzly bears. People just don't really like to see that.
The grizzly bear one's interesting.
I know. I don't know. I read an article that was written by a guy who lives in Vancouver, and I didn't tweet it because I wasn't sure what to say about it. But basically, he's saying there's no reason to hunt grizzly bears, and he said if you're hurting for meat, then you should be going to the grocery store. So he's missing the whole point of why people do this, right?
Yeah,
because they want to go out and get their own meat. And what we heard from Jesse was that there's nothing wrong with eating grizzly bear. So you and I are trophy hunters, and anything that we kill, we're gonna make use of as much as possible. So there's that whole debate. But
yeah, I'm against like some guy coming up just to shoot a grizzly bear so he can bring the head and rug home and then leave all the meat there. Totally against that. But that doesn't mean that there's another situation where people are hunting it and eating all the food just like they would any other animal.
Yeah.
So I think the logic is the same for every animal that's hunted as far as the reasoning behind it. And I think some of these animals get a lot more attention than other ones, rightly or wrongly.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be whichever one gathers the most attention in the news is the one that people start reporting on,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But, in short, I guess the thing is, just be mindful of what you're posting and what it looks like and how other people might interpret it.
Yeah.
You and I have posted all of our kills on Instagram, and it's been nothing but encouragement from people, but we're posting it in the right spots, I think.
And we haven't posted a bear because we haven't got one.
Yeah, I would be interested to see how that would go over.
I think most of our followers are following us because we're doing this. So
you and I don't put anything hunting related on Facebook because those are sort of like our close networks of people who we work with, and you know what I mean. That doesn't seem like the right venue for it. For us, anyways.
The one thing I'm not sure if I put it on Facebook. I did put it on my personal Instagram was the elk picture.
Oh.
Because that one was just so hard not to put on there, right?
Stoked on it.
And I haven't received any negative feedback.
It's good.
Just people going, wow. Like,
mm-hmm.
Even most people that aren't really into it, they'll still say wow with like an emoji with the mouth open, right?
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Right.
But I think, I guess it depends. Like if those people know you and I almost feel like depending on who the person is, like if they know you and they know you're a respectful person and you're kind of getting into this, then it almost indirectly, they start thinking like, oh, well, like maybe this isn't such a bad thing because these guys are doing it and like they're not jerks and like there must be maybe a reason behind this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it kind of opens up eyes,
good.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you know who your following is, right? Like for me, I own a business, so if
it's a little more.
Yeah, there's, I think my Facebook friends, I think there's like 1,000 people I've got on there. I probably know 5% of those people, right? And if I just started putting pictures of dead deer on there when all I've been doing is promoting music and stuff beforehand, it'd be kind of
Yeah, I agree.
It's not the right place to
put
do
it on there.
So I definitely put up photos of the places we've been, right?
Yeah.
Which is cool. People like to see the mountains and stuff like that. So
yeah, you don't want to close any doors business wise.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small chance, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, anyways, just be mindful of what you're doing and be a good ambassador of the sport and make sure you're doing something that benefits everybody, really.
Mm-hmm.
But some things are unpredictable. You never know where it's going to end up or how people are going to react. But one of those things I don't think we can really avoid. It's just the world we live in. And that's all there is to it. Episode 4, Corey Davey. I haven't talked to Corey in a while. He said he was at your party there last week.
Yeah. And, I don't think he was successful this year, but he also has a baby now, so I don't think he really had a chance to get out much. So the year before he was pretty successful and we almost got nothing. This year we got some things and now we're even.
Yeah, we're even. Take that, Corey.
But I do like going out with Corey. So I think we'll have to take him out maybe next year. He has a little more time.
For sure.
But he showed me a couple spots. So
good.
Yeah.
Episode 5, we had a whole bunch of advice from the Alberta Outdoorsman Forum, and I'd almost like to go back and listen to this one because I don't even remember what we had on there. Probably some good advice. Cal, if you had any advice from anything that happened this season, what would that be?
Just get out there, really.
Yeah.
Like, get out there as much as possible, and good things are bound to happen.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and I think that was the case with us this year.
Yeah.
Once you got successful with your buck there,
Mm-hmm.
like you were going out quite a bit, and I was going out with you. Like, I don't know, we kind of have different schedules because I'm working through the day,
Yeah.
and you're usually working in the evenings.
Exactly.
So sometimes it's hard to
and
line everything up.
Sometimes I'm working on the weekends too, so
Yeah,
but I think we're both trying to get out whenever we could.
Yeah, but yeah, we covered a lot of time and ground, I think, in September, and it paid off.
Yeah, I think that's what my advice was going to be, was to spend as much time out there beforehand as you can.
Yeah.
And getting out there right at the beginning of September in our new spot, we were kind of scouting at the same time, but it's an area that is very much full of mule deer, not so much for whitetail. So at least we kind of had an idea of, at that point it would have been 4-point only.
Mm-hmm.
So really kind of like getting a feel for what's out there. And there was a lot of bucks, so we knew come October 1st or whenever it switches to any buck, that it was kind of like a given, basically.
Yeah, I mean, we found the path or the game trail that was going through a intense saddle.
Yeah.
That was heavily used. We saw deer almost every time we went. So it was kind of just like, okay, well, we got 7 more days until we come up here and shoot one of those things. And sure enough,
luckily
it still wasn't that easy, but the stars aligned and you ended up getting one.
Yeah, and it was 4-point only because that was the end of September when I got that guy.
Yeah.
So when it came to going in with your tag, it was basically it was kind of a weird feeling to go up there, man, because I'm like, it sounds cocky, but I knew it was like guaranteed we were gonna.
Oh, you mean when I got my deer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was later
because we had kept visiting
October.
The area, and we knew that like they were still coming through the same path, doing the same habits and stuff like that.
2 months later.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. I'd be curious to go up there now. I'm not going to, but just to see if they're still hanging out. And then same thing, it'll be cool to go up maybe at the end of August. You and I can go up and see if that area, if they're still doing the same thing, because those trails were really well used, and nobody other than us was kind of venturing off into that spot. So it was a hike-in only area, and we had to go on a good 4 or 5 kilometers and then get off of the trail at that point, and really get off the beaten. While there was no path, we were making our own trail.
Yeah.
So I think that's the way to do it. If you want to get these bigger animals and find more animals, you got to get away from the crowds. And our first year, we were sort of in the busiest spot, but that's a good training ground, right? So also makes you a little uneasy, but
I also think we turned into mule deer hunters this year.
Yeah.
The first couple of years we were more so in, I would call it whitetail territory, kind of valley bottoms and a little bit of brush. But this time we went straight for the mule deer country. There was no whitetails anywhere. It was not whitetail country whatsoever. I saw
whitetail doe and 2 fawns once. That was it. Yeah. And that was lower down. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went 100% mule deer, and it worked out. And when you get something early, it takes the pressure off for later.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say, like, when you're out there, sometimes it doesn't feel like you're learning anything. But over the past couple of years, like, I remember at first when we started hunting, I would go into Google Earth and I'd try to look at it and be like, okay, where are these deer? If I look at Google Earth long enough, like these pros are doing, maybe I'll be able to figure out, like, okay, this is a saddle. And you can kind of do that. But I find now when I look at those spots, I can analyze it so much more. And like, I have more ideas of what potentially could be happening in those spots, but you don't get that unless you have spent those couple of years just watching and observing, right?
True. Yeah.
So you can read all the books you want, but that experience helps for big time.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. It's almost, looking at a map is one thing, but you have to have the other pieces of the puzzle that sort of bring that map to life, and you get an understanding of how they might travel through that area. And you can guess and say that area looks good, but you're actually there.
And you'll observe all that and absorb it all, like through osmosis, just from being out there.
Yeah.
So
definitely. Yeah, I think that's good advice.
I think so.
Cool. Episode 6 was that was like probably the best weekend I had was our birthday weekend. Kelly and I are born just a couple days apart. And so we went to the BC Interior Sportsman Show, and we made sausages. We cooked crabs and stuff all that same weekend there.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to next year's Sportsman Show. It's right. I think it's the 6th to the 9th again, or something like that.
Yeah, it ends
7th
on
to the 10th or something.
The 9th is a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. I think we should do a repeat of that. And on the 9th, there's a 10K run. I don't know if you want to do that one.
I probably will.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to make myself sign up. I might do, well, I don't know. I know I can run 5K now.
Yeah.
I haven't tried to do 10 ever, I don't think.
The first time I did it was that weekend, man. So yeah.
Maybe I'll just sign up for, I know I'm not going to do more than 10.
You're right.
Probably not that whole year. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I would do 10Ks at least for the first 3 because there's 5 races total, right?
So there's a circuit that you can sign up for, and it's pretty cheap actually, considering like the half marathon I did was like $120 American. So that was just one race, and this is only like $65 Canadian or something to do 5 different runs.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. And then you can actually choose between 5 and 10Ks and then half marathons. So I might even do a variation of like a couple of 10s of 5, another 10, and then end off on a half or something like that.
I might start with a 5.
Yeah, it's a good way to get into it for sure.
Yeah. And then do a 10 and just take it from there.
It's pretty wild because hunting or running, I mean, is just started this year, and like to think of how much like that 10K run was a beast for me. Like I got to like the 6K mark and I wanted to die because I'd never run that far before either.
Were you trying to keep up, or did you just for yourself?
Just my only goal with that run was to run the entire thing. Yeah, I didn't want to stop at all, and I didn't really care about what my time was or anything like that. I just wanted to run the whole thing, which I did, and I did okay on that thing. Yeah, and I don't think I talked about the Seattle half marathon since that one happened, but I had the same goal, was to run the entire thing without stopping once, which I did, and my goal for time was hour 45, and I came in at 1:46. Nice. So I basically picked a time or just threw a dart at a time. I didn't know if that was possible or not, but I was trying to do averages just based on the runs that I was doing around here to train and stuff like that. So yeah, that was fun though, man.
Cool.
I recommend, and it's neat to do it in a different city like that, to go hang out in Seattle for 3 days. And
yeah,
and then that's a neat way to see the city because you're running on some of the major roadways and on top of these bridges and going through like tunnels and pretty cool. A different way to see the city for sure.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Cool.
But yeah, back to sausage making. Anything you want to make still?
Well, we have 2 bags of elk meat in the freezer still, so we can do some sausages with that, like fresh sausage, maybe
30 pounds. I still want to try making the summer sausage and smoking them. We'll give that a whirl. We really have to kind of plan ahead for that one. Yeah,
it's doable.
Yeah, it's just picking a weekend to do it.
Yeah, I think with sausages, next time we make them, when they're all kind of in the casings and twisted, I'd like to hang them and let them dry out first before we start freezing them.
We could even smoke some of those, like just take a few of them and hang them up in the smoker.
True.
Be interesting.
It'd be interesting because you're not doing the cure in that form, right?
Yeah.
But, or we could do like similar process, but cure it first and then put them all in sausages, farmer sausage type, and then throw them in there and smoke it, see what happens.
That'd be cool.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, and you bought the grinder. We kind of pushed the KitchenAid to its maximum, and your grinder's pretty sweet, so that's going to make life a bit easier. And yeah. So we'll definitely be making some more sometime soon here, which is great.
After Christmas.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else you wanted to add to that one?
No, I don't think so.
So then we had 7 and 8 were gear episodes. Both of them. It was a 2-part thing because there's so much to go over, and we put the word out to some of the forums. The Hunting BC forum and the Alberta one, I think, were the two. Maybe the Texas one too, I think. But there's a ton of gear advice in there. And again, I'd almost be interested to listen back to those two because there's so much we covered in there, which was kind of cool.
One new piece of gear that I got this year that I wish I had sooner was gaiters.
Yeah. Did you get some?
Yeah. So remember when we were in the Kootenays there for the elk hunt, I had some gaiters.
Oh, yeah.
I bought some Outdoor Research. They're the Gore-Tex ones. They're like $80, $90, but they're half the price of your, big name brand, Sitka, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they're not quite as quiet as those ones because these ones get that little bit of that crunchy, crinkly type sound.
Right.
But I didn't really notice it when I was out there. Like you're not really walking with your ankles touching, so you're not brushing together, right? Ideally.
Your cankles are rubbing together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got to get some too, actually. Those were great because I had Garrett's, so.
Yeah. I mean, if you're hunting whitetail on a stand, then maybe you take them off when you get to your stand. But if you're
going through wet grass and snow, and we went through everything that trip, so.
Oh, yeah. It was good.
Yeah, those are huge. We're both looking at jackets. Cal, I think we're going to have the same jacket. Sweet.
I think you should.
Yeah.
So I ordered a First Light Seek Storm Tight. It's supposed to be super waterproof, super breathable. Waterproof zippers, 3.5 layers.
Yeah, which is sweet. So you're getting more than one jacket out of it, basically.
Yeah. It's a shell, right? But yeah, there's just like, it's super tough. So you can actually go through a lot of these like rain jackets. They're super thin and they're lightweight. So you only pull them out when it's raining.
Yeah.
But this one is that jacket, but it's also thicker and you can bushwhack with it and everything. Exactly. Like it's an Alaskan rainwear type jacket.
Yeah. They're designed for basically Alaska and BC hunters and Washington probably, like where you're getting more rain and more weather, so it'd be a really good jacket for fishing. And man, I'd even wear that like to the ski hill and stuff if you wanted to.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Pretty versatile jacket, and that's what I mean. You're getting a lot more out of that one. And I was looking at the Fjallraven one, which is a whole other story in itself, but it got delayed in getting it, and now I'm kind of glad that it didn't. I could still go for it. I'm still kind of right in the middle, but this First Light jacket just seems like the way to go.
Yeah, I think.
I hate being wet, man. That just ruins your.
Yeah, I think Fjallraven's awesome because they have a different technology.
Yeah.
The wax is really cool, especially if you're going to use things in different seasons and you want breathability versus waterproofness and kind of vice versa. Like I have those pants and I think they're awesome for fishing and mountain biking and hiking and all that. I think if you want a very technical jacket, then I would go more to the First Light.
Right.
Just in terms of the technology built in to those, like it's not Gore-Tex, but similar. So you get that kind of waterproof, full-blown waterproofness and all that kind of stuff. Different technologies, but.
Yeah. It's funny, man, because I was thinking from when I'm looking at the Fjallraven one, and it'll resist water to a certain degree, and especially if you wax it. And for us here in the Okanagan, we don't get a whole lot of rain. So I was thinking, well, it's not that big of a deal. But if we start doing more northern hunts and more kootenai hunts,
Yep.
where you're getting into extreme weather conditions that are always changing, then to have something that's legit waterproof, to keep you dry and warm and everything.
With that customizable hood with the adjustments everywhere.
Yeah.
And so fishing too, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're out in the boat and it just starts downpouring, you can just cinch everything up and sit there and you're good.
I was reading some guy's review, and I guess he was actually testing out the early models of it. He does that for First Light.
Oh yeah.
And he said to wear
the Boundary jacket.
Yeah, to wear a brimmed hat with that jacket.
Yeah.
He said it makes it that much better because it sort of just helps you to see a lot more and
kind of
opens up your vision a bit. So
yeah,
I thought that was an interesting point. Kind of makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, we'll both have some year jackets ordered, and I'm still kind of figuring out what I'm gonna do here because I was gonna get a jacket and pants from Fjallraven, but I might just get a jacket. And
did you go to the local hunting store and check out the First Light jackets at all?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, because they do have them there. They have the Seek there, so it's worth just having a look before you make any.
Yeah.
They only.
I did a lot of reading in it. I didn't read anything bad. So
yeah, the only thing that I would say would be bad about it is, like, we're not buying 4 different jackets for 4 different things.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of want to get one jacket that's good for the worst, and then I can layer it up or layer it down or stuff it in. It's pretty packable, so you can stuff it.
That's the nice thing about it. You'd expect that to be a heavier jacket. And I feel like if I got the Fjallraven one, I would still need that First Light jacket because the Fjallraven one is like very versatile up until a point. Yeah. And then if it's pouring rain, then
you might need another.
Yeah, so I would have to buy some kind of a shell.
Yeah.
Anyways, so.
Yeah, I think the only thing...
I just don't want to have 100 different things. I'd rather just, keep things simple, right?
Yeah. The only 2 knocks on this jacket, which are unavoidable based on what it gives you, are the weight.
Yeah.
It's not heavy, but compared to the Vapor jacket, like they're very light, ultra lightweight sheep hunting kind of rain jacket, it's a little heavier than that, and it's also a little bit noisy.
Right.
Like it's got a little bit of that crinkly kind of Gore-Tex-y sound. But
I had read that it was pretty decent though, considering. Yeah.
And you kind of like, you throw your pack on, you cinch everything down, and you're all kind of like sucked in anyways. Yeah. And I don't know. We hunted with Garrett, and he's got the full-blown Kuiu, like 5 layers of Kuiu with the rain jacket gear on top, and he wore that the whole time. And you can kind of hear certain kind of brushiness once in a while, but it's nothing that's going to make me not buy that outfit, right?
No, I don't know.
And the benefits it gives you are just full-blown waterproof and warm, and you don't have to wear an 80-pound wool jacket that's wet.
Yeah, exactly. Forget that. Sweet. Well, we'll follow up on that one, so you'll have it, so you'll be able to do a review at some point because you'll be able to wear it throughout the winter here, and I'll follow up with whatever decision I end up making in the end here. So,
yep.
Especially after talking to Ryan Callahan, when you meet somebody who works with a company, it becomes a bit more of a personal thing. You know what I mean? Because he's such a great guy and very easy to talk to. You kind of want to support that company because you know who works there, and it seems like they're a really good company. And when you go through their checkout, you can actually donate money to different conservation efforts and stuff like that. You can select which one you'd like to throw some cash to, or you can split it between all of them. So pretty cool. Mm-hmm. They're American ones, but I don't care if it's conservation. It's conservation. So
yeah, and like he said, they're putting it to the test.
Yeah,
hunting wise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Fjallraven is they are somewhat in the hunting world, but it seems to be more on the upland side, like small game hunting.
Yeah.
Whereas, with First Light, they're putting it to the big game Western hunting test, right?
Fjallraven, I think, too, is more of a mountaineering kind of thing. Yeah. And the thing they've been around since the 60s, I think. So they've kept a lot of their technologies the same, and they just sort of modify them slightly each year or keep them the same, which is kind of cool. So that they've been kind of tried out for decades now, right? So
Yeah.
there's that too. But yeah, it's different, man. I don't know. Torn.
Yeah.
So
It's tough too when you can't like see everything firsthand.
mm-hmm.
Like a lot of this stuff's on the internet and you're kind of,
I went and checked it all out in Vancouver.
oh, okay. You saw those ones?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you can see the First Light here.
Yeah, I should go have a look at it here and see.
Yeah. And then there's everything else too.
Yeah.
I just can't believe the prices on this stuff. It's
I know,
just
it's
absolutely
ridiculous.
insane. When we first started hunting, I remember I bought some Sitka Timberline pants,
Yeah.
and they were a couple $100 Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And now you go in there and they're $350 Canadian.
Crazy.
Same pants. Like seriously,
Yeah. That's
a
crazy.
third higher. Just I know the dollar went to crap there, but still, I just can't believe that anyone is actually paying that.
Yeah, it's nuts.
As much as I'm a gearhead, I would never buy a $850, $900
Yeah.
jacket.
One thing I'd say is like never buy something full price. It's always going to go on
Oh,
sale.
yeah.
And
Always
sometimes
on
you
sale.
you get antsy because you're like, okay, I got my stuff picked out. I just want to buy it now. But there's always sales, be it like, I don't know, Father's Day or,
Yeah.
Black Friday or Boxing Day or whatever it might be. And there's often some big ones. So I'd say just sit tight and you can save yourself, over $100 sometimes at least. So,
Oh yeah. Buy it in the off season.
yeah,
Even during the season, I find there's good sales.
for sure.
Just keep your eyes open.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we covered gear. It was May 13th. We posted an episode. It was the black bear hunt begins. And I think not the main reason, but we figured, well, we started this podcast. We need to have some sort of experiences to talk about. And so we decided, well, why don't we look into black bear hunting? And we decided to go for it. We weren't successful on a black bear hunt, but I think that whole experience was really great scouting opportunities. We've said this a few times, but
Well, we had your
we had the quad up here, the ATV. So we got to go look at some new areas. We saw some nice muleys up on the other side, the opposite side of where we normally hunt. And saw some areas where I saw lots of moose sign. We didn't really get out and do any moose hunting this year. Just they all kind of took over that. And I think it's just a really good excuse to get out in the spring and, scope stuff out. So did you learn anything from going out there and trying to chase down black bears? We saw bears, but we saw sign.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I heard that they cruise the roads in the spring. So a lot of guys probably, once you find the sign on the road, I heard you've kind of found the bear. You just got to keep your eyes peeled and maybe you do some calling or whatever. But I thought what we learned was that maybe it wasn't a great season in our area for black bear.
We heard that from a number of people too. So
I think if we were going to go for black bear again, maybe we go to the Kootenays.
100%. That's what I was going to say. I learned was to go elsewhere.
We actually had a chance to get a black bear on our elk hunt.
Yeah.
And it was just a small guy. And he was kind of ran across the road at one point. And
yeah, when it feels right or if it doesn't feel right.
yeah,
and
just
kind of wanted to look at him.
We all kind of looked at him and he's cool and then keep going.
Yeah.
He wasn't big and it's just,
yeah,
you got 4 guys and you want to get some meat off of whatever you take,
for
right?
sure. Leave the little guy alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone who's interested in black bear hunting or not sure of it, Kelly and I did a lot of research and we went from thinking that we weren't interested in it to being quite interested in it, and we'll probably do it again, or we will do it again next season here. So it's a very edible animal. It just depends the season and where you are on the map and what it's been eating and all that stuff. So lots of things to consider, but we'll definitely go for it. It's an animal that you can actually use a lot of, more so than a lot of other animals actually, as far as things you can take from it. So worth hunting, I think.
Yep.
It's episode 10. We had my brother-in-law and good friend Kevin Snyder. He also joined us in the Kootenays. I don't think he's got a little one too. So he didn't get out that much either, but at least he got out for the Kootenay trip, and I think he got a couple of grouse too. So
I wonder if he's kind of cooked up any of his meat yet.
I don't know, actually. I told him he's got to get it out of those bags. Both Garrett and him do, because ours was getting a little freezer burnt there. So
yeah, I think it's still pretty good, but you're right. They're not airtight, right?
It's a good way to get all the meat divided up and everything like that, but
yeah,
you gotta store it proper. But yeah, and episode 11 we had Kareem Shaya from Outpost Hunting. It's kind of a cool chat. He reached out to us and wanted to come on. So basically, he's teaming up with different outfitters, I guess, throughout the states to kind of get inexperienced hunters out and take them and give them experiences that they might not get if they're in the city and stuff like that. So we should follow up with Kareem and see how that's all going. And it was kind of in their early stages, and they were scouting new areas to do it. It was mainly in California, I think, at that point. So
yeah, I'd like to do a antelope hunt at one point, like Wyoming.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So maybe he can help us out.
I want to do a pig hunt for sure, man.
I don't know if they have any areas in that region, but if he does,
let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Episode 12 was my recap of the Juan de Fuca Trail. Anyone who's in BC and interested in doing multi-day trips on the coast, definitely look up the Juan de Fuca Trail. It's sort of not the equivalent, but it's similar to the West Coast Trail. They're pretty close to each other, and some people do through hikes on both of them. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do a trip like that again this summer. We talked about maybe doing one in the Rockies. There's some cool multi-day trips that we can do there. So we thought about it, but if this is something you're interested in, I don't think it matters where you are, if you're in the States or if you're in Canada. Find out when you need to book these things, because originally I wanted to do the West Coast Trail and I was too late. It booked up in a matter of days apparently. So start planning for that stuff now, and even start planning your hunt trips stuff now. Get ready for all these things. So I won't talk too much about the Juan de Fuca, but that was a really great experience and in good weather as far as spending multiple days. I think it was 5 days I was out there, and allowed me to test out all my gear and find out that if I needed to survive out of a pack for 5 days, it's totally possible, and you can do it and still be very comfortable. So it takes a lot of planning, and you have to have all the right gear for that one. Episode 13, we had Jesse Zeman in from the BC Wildlife Federation.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to that one, recommend checking it out.
Definitely want to have Jesse back. There's lots of things we could talk about.
Yeah, for sure. It's tough. It's kind of tough to hold that conversation because we're learning all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I think having him in here the first time kind of opened our eyes a little bit, and now maybe we can get him in again. And
for sure, man.
We're actually going to talk to potentially a wildlife biologist that's working at
We've been saying this for a while, but it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, well, we kind of ran into the holiday season here. Once you get into December,
hunting season and everything, so it's kind of trying to make this one happen for a while, but it's tough. So
yeah,
everyone's busy, but yeah, that'll be good. So that's the goal for 2017, is to have a lot more knowledgeable guests from a wide range of backgrounds, so that you and I can learn from it. That's the main thing, but also everybody who's listening is going to get a lot out of it. So I think we got lots of things to look forward to. Episode 14, Kel, we talked about ammo, calibers, rifles, and all that good stuff. I don't really have anything to add to that one. You might.
No, I think it's kind of a snapshot of where I was at that time, and still I still agree with a lot of this stuff in that episode. It mostly had to do with making sure that you're buying a gun that you can handle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's better to have good aim with a reasonable bullet than bad aim with a humongous one.
For sure.
So that was kind of the key point on that one.
Yeah. Episode 15 was the bow season. I'm looking forward to getting out with the bow again in the early season this year.
We talked about spear hunting and
Oh, yeah, right.
the fact I don't think we're going to be buying spears anytime soon.
No, I'm pretty sure that's never going to happen again. And I think they banned it in Alberta, and I think BC was probably soon to follow. I didn't hear much more about that whole
Yeah, I
Under
didn't
Armour
either.
thing. So
I mean, I think there are other people that do that. I don't know.
seems crazy.
Kind of like to minimize the potential suffering of the animal.
Yeah,
Which personally for me, I don't think I'd be able to do that with a sharpened stick
yeah.
in my arm.
It seems too risky.
Yeah.
That would take a lot of practice,
Mm-hmm.
like anything. But I don't know, man.
Too many variables with that.
Totally. I'll pass on that one. But we'll go out with our bows and do it proper. So
Yeah. But
yeah.
with your bow though, like, I don't know, it's mechanical, right? Like the technology out there now, you pull that thing back and you're sitting at 60 yards and you can fire like 10 arrows in a row within an inch or two, right? So like, and that's just someone that's only been doing it for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So the confidence that brings, and I don't know, I just think it's a much better tool for harvesting your food than
Yeah,
flinging a stick around.
for sure. Yeah. Episodes 16 and 17, those were some from the field episodes that we did. So it was kind of cool, man, because that's when we were just kind of getting into our new spot there and talking about what we saw. And I think at the end of, from the field episode, I was getting super frustrated because it kept going up to that same spot, seeing animals and just not like executing the plan the way I wanted it to go. So I was getting pissed off. And then the episode after that was when I actually got the 4-point mule deer. So it did pay off,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's just each time you go, you make a little mistake and you kind of got to get a feel for the land that you're in and how the animals are moving and where they generally are each time you go there. So when I went up for the mule deer, I was feeling super confident that day. I knew sort of the area that I wanted to get to and how to get there undetected, and had the spotting scope, saw a whole bunch of deer, and a little bit of patience, which is something I've had to work on.
Mm-hmm.
Paid off, and that 4-point kind of came out of nowhere. I actually didn't expect it. It was right in front of me. So that was all good. And then after that, this is where things keep getting better. Episode 19 was the bull elk hunt. We've talked about that like crazy.
And that just before the elk happened, we took down a white-tailed doe.
Yep.
And then the elk went down, and then we came back, and I had a limited entry tag for. Am I jumping ahead here? Oh no, this is episode 21 now.
Yep.
So I had a limited entry for mule deer doe, but we ended up seeing a mule deer buck that was a little bigger, and both were open. So
Triceratops.
kind of traded in the LEH for that buck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the third deer of the season, plus the elk.
Plus the elk. And after that, we were feeling pretty well satisfied. And
I was kind of hoping we could go out last weekend
I know.
with our bows, because it was almost, I was almost going to treat it as a test of like how lucky is this season really.
Right.
Because if we would have went out there with our bows in the snow and got
Another whitetail.
a whitetail, then I would have said, okay, well, maybe this is just a lucky season, you know?
Yeah.
But
Oh, today was the last day for whitetail.
yeah.
So tomorrow goes to wolf, lynx, bobcat, and cougar. Coyote, skunk, raccoon, snowshoe hare. So I still kind of want to go out and do some
Yeah.
hare hunting. would be good.
So yeah, we got the last mule deer.
Yep. And then just kind of the 22 was just sort of going over about everything we've done with the meat and how we've dealt with it all. And it's a lot of work, and it keeps going. I mean, we still got work to do if you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, we've got about 30 pounds of elk to deal with still between the two of us. And
yeah, boiled up a skull.
Right. Did we talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked about it in the intro to the Ryan Callahan.
Oh, nice. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing is sweet. I can't wait to see it, man. I still haven't
Yeah, it
seen
looks good.
And then, yeah, that brings us to 24, which was Ryan Callahan. And again, huge thanks to Ryan and all of our guests. We skipped past Randy, which was your father-in-law. He was on episode 23. So we've had a cool range of guests, from other rookies to very experienced lifetime hunters to guys who actually do this for a living. Pretty cool, man.
For sure.
So I'd say we're very lucky to be doing what we're doing. Grateful that people listen to this thing. And it keeps growing. It just surprises me every time I go and look.
Yeah, I think it's cool where we've come from when we first started hunting to now, but also when we first started this podcast to now.
Yeah.
And it kind of part of the reason we started doing this in the first place was just to document the stuff for ourselves.
And force ourselves to learn too, knowing that we, may or may not have had an audience. We still have we're obligated to do research and make sure we're, telling people the right things. So,
yeah. And it's a way to it's a way to sit down and just start talking about what the plan is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you start, we're both on the same page because we've talked about it in episodes, and things just, it's a way to kind of get together, touch base, make sure we're learning all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So what are you anxious to learn about or hunt different next year?
I want to hunt more mule deer for sure. I'm just anxious to kind of hone those skills a little more.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what Ryan was talking about, is getting your groceries at the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah.
I think from what we learned this year, it's almost, I shouldn't even say that, but I feel confident that we can definitely get a mule deer every year if things stay the same.
But I'm excited next year to kind of go into the same spot, but further back and do a couple overnighters.
Yeah, definitely.
With a tent.
We can wait for some of those big guys.
Yeah. And what I'd also like to do is, it's no motorized vehicles in that area, but you can take your bike.
Yeah.
So I'd like to take mountain bikes in, whether you have to walk them up or not, and then put them in a location, hike up, do a overnight hunt. And if you get something, you just pack it down to your bike, and then you kind of wheel it out on a bike, right? Incorporating that would be kind of cool. And then obviously doing another type of big hunt, whether it's going back to the Kootenays or whatever, that'd be fun.
To be determined.
Yeah.
So mountain goat was high on the list for both of us, just more as an experience. It's not necessarily a meat hunt if it's a group of us, but it's a cool experience, I think. So
that's one I struggle with, because I love to do that, and maybe we can tie it in to the overall trip, but I don't know if I'd sacrifice an elk for it.
Yeah, I hear you.
Just from the meat aspect, right? I'd like to get an elk every year.
That's why we almost need to come up with a plan. If we have similar goals that can be accomplished in one area, maybe two guys go one spot, two guys go somewhere else, targeting different animals. And if we all want those same experiences, then we can switch them up each day, you know what I mean? Or something like that. Kind of just thinking out loud, but that area has opportunities for all kinds of things. So,
and I think it depends where we're at in terms of inventory at that time.
Totally, yeah.
Like if you have one deer or not even one deer, and that trip comes around and we're all going for a mountain goat, it's almost like, well, what are we going for
In that case, we might as well all be going on a mule deer hunt here and
exactly,
being
or there,
successful.
yeah. Because we saw a lot of mule deer tracks too.
Yeah, yeah.
I know they were there.
They're there. There's some big tracks too.
Mhm.
So, grizzly bear keeps coming up in my head. I'm not there yet, and I'm not going to apply for LEH.
Yeah,
But just the thought is there, so that might be a 2018 hunt or something like that.
maybe. I'm not there for next year. That's for sure.
No, I'm not either. But
I don't want to be anywhere
I
near
just
one.
start thinking about it more and more. It just they're cool animals, anyways. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, not ready for that one. But the thought is there.
not due to like the controversy around it, but more so just the fear.
You're on your own on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe if you killed one, you'd feel better.
maybe.
Yeah. I like seeing those things, man. I think that's part of it, is just getting up into some of those high country areas and seeing them, shooting it in the moment you might pass on it. It
Mhm.
might just be cool to see them. I don't
Yeah.
know. It is the big scary beast out in the wilderness, so I think that's why
Yeah,
it's interesting to me.
it's the king,
Pretty much, yeah.
but we'd be taking the meat and everything. So.
Oh yeah, 100% we would. So that's a lot of meat.
Mhm.
Moose is another one I'm interested in. I just don't know where.
Yeah, I mean, either we test our luck on the LEH or we go way up north and just hunt for one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far you have to go north
Well,
to where they're open season. We could look
true.
into
No,
that.
you'd have to go further than that. But yeah, we should probably spend a whole night looking through all this stuff together and kind of plot out what areas are going to be best and what odds are going to be good. Or
Well, like Randy said on that podcast, guys are going further north. So I think we gotta.
yeah,
The higher we go up north, the better chances we're gonna
I
get.
think so. Yeah.
And I mean, there's a guy at work. Their family got 3 with limited entries, like
Holy.
friends and family. So out of there, he must know a lot of people, but
Yeah.
he knew of 3 people, including himself, that got a moose.
Crazy.
And I believe they were all kind of caribou and up,
right.
or at least kind of like Kamloops and north.
Yeah, right.
So they're not going.
They're coming here.
They're not coming here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we'll see what happens, man. But we're kind of, now that the season's wrapped up, it goes back into the planning phase, which is just as fun sometimes.
mhm.
Kind of starting to think about, what we need and where we want to go. And that's just as fun.
Yep. Yeah, I think the mountain goat, it's all about the adventure.
That's good. Yeah.
So you got to, if
Number one is the meat. So you're right. Like if we could get a couple of mule deer
Mhm.
before we left on this trip, then I would feel better,
Mhm.
because it's also, I'm drawn to the experience of the hunt just as much as I am the meat. But the meat is number one, so that needs to be dealt with first.
Mhm.
And then, but to go for mountain goats, I also want to know that they're there before I hunt too. I don't want to waste time either.
Yep. So you know what we have to do? This is leading us to a archery elk hunt
Yeah.
early September, which I'd rather do anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And then mountain goat hunt in the Kootenays during that October time frame, right?
Yeah.
And then if another elk happens to walk out, then we get another one.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So we might have to see if we can work that out.
For sure.
Maybe Randy can take us out because they always go archery elk hunting, right?
Yeah. It'd be
That's
good.
something that would be intense.
Very intense.
I can't imagine what it's like to have a elk come in bugling at like 40 yards and in.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Nuts. Yeah.
Because look at how big that thing was when we
Oh, it's huge.
walked up to it.
It's a horse.
Imagine it just running in, swinging its head around
Yeah.
and whistling.
It's crazy.
Pretty cool.
Big animals. Yeah. Respect for all these things, man.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I think that might be it for 2016. You want to add anything, Cal? Any
I think the one thing in this kind of from talking to Ryan and some of the other folks we talked to and some of the feedback we've got from the podcasting world and the hunting world is I'm amazed at kind of how small in a way the hunting community is and how close it is.
I 100% agree with that.
So I think that's awesome. And, some of the challenges that we face in the hunting world, whether it's conservation or perspective, like people looking in, and we kind of have to
work together.
And it seems like it's not a hard thing to accomplish because we are all close and communicating and working together, and from what I can see.
Yeah.
So I think that's great.
Yeah. I think I've brought this up to you before, but I work in the music industry, and it's a very competitive industry. It's weird. It's like musicians are all kind of working against each other, and the music industry struggles. It's not a strong industry, right? There's all these talented people that for some reason they're not coming together in ways that they should be. And that's the difference I found when I went over to hunting, is that it's a very tight community and everybody's really willing to help each other out. And it's kind of nice to see that, like, all these people are out there. Mm-hmm. Everybody's willing to give advice and help you out and send you in the right direction. And you're right, it is kind of a small community when you start to talk to these people, and everybody's kind of connected in some way or another. And I think it's great that the hunting world is the way it is. I think there's probably work that needs to be done, but it's kind of changed the way I look at things, man. It's very cool.
Yeah, I almost think there's like an innate sense of community that came from just how we evolved, right? And having to hunt and share to keep our neighbors alive and all that kind of stuff. It almost seems like that aspect hasn't really gone away in hunting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in hunting. I think that people do it because they're trying to tap into, our instincts and a lot of that historical stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's another piece of it.
For sure. It's cool. So you and I were texting each other the other day, and I said, man, we're lucky to kind of be in the position we're in with getting into hunting and the benefits that has for our health and our mental state, and also the podcast and the opportunities that this is starting to provide for us, the people we're getting to meet. It's pretty damn cool. So I'm like beyond thankful that we decided to, over a few beers, decide to get our hunting licenses, however long ago that was now, a couple of years back. So for anyone who's listening that is on the fence about hunting, or I doubt that you got this far into the podcast if you weren't sure about the sport, but it's like it changed both of our lives and for the better, I think. So it's amazing what we've learned, amazing the things we've seen, the places we've been. It's unreal, man.
Already, yeah.
Yeah, in a short career of hunting, 2 years.
Yeah, if you're willing to go out there. The other thing is you kind of get at first it's like, oh, that's too far away, or that's too far away. It's 12-hour drive.
Right.
And then as you get into it, you realize that the distances seem smaller and smaller as you go, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know how many times Randy went up to Spatsizi Plateau and like all these places that are way up there, and your perception of how far to go to get these animals, it just grows.
Yeah.
Like you're willing to go further because it's worth it. Right?
Definitely. Yeah.
When I first started, I was like, I drive, all the way to the Kootenays.
Yeah.
That's a lot of gas money and whatever. And at the end of the day, it's all worth it.
Yeah. Especially when you got a great team of guys and everyone's contributing to it in some way or another.
Yeah. And if it increases your chances of success, and it's worth it too.
And it is a costly sport, but when you are eventually successful, you and I were doing the math on the amount of meat we were coming back with and the value of what that would be if you went to a grocery store and bought it. And it was kind of a eye-opener to think that we had, thousands of dollars worth of meat, basically.
Yeah,
exactly. Pretty wild. And it's the best stuff you could ever have. And we did it all ourselves, so it's pretty amazing.
For sure.
So, grateful.
Yeah, good year. Grateful for it. Grateful that people are listening to us.
Me too, man. That's cool. And we got a lot of new listeners from the States. So hello to all you guys and anybody else. I know we got a big boost from Canada as well. And I think I was looking at the map, Cal. We've been downloaded in every state except for Hawaii or something like that. So
Really?
we know you guys exist. There might be one other state. I can't remember what it was, but
What can you hunt in Hawaii?
I think there's small deer and there's pigs there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're coming for you next, Hawaii.
That's the other thing. Pigs.
Yes. 100%.
Wild hogs or whatever
Definitely.
they're called. Yeah. Feral pigs.
Yeah.
I'd like to hunt those. I'm not sure where we have to go exactly, but
Texas.
yeah.
Sure.
Oh.
They're down there.
That's a little far.
Yeah. Yeah, so if anybody wants to help us out and do us a favor, it's that time of year to do something nice for somebody, you can just leave us a rating and review in iTunes. And we finally got one in the States. So you American fellas, get in there and leave us a rating, review. It helps us out. So that's all we ask in return for doing this. It's easy. So thank you very much for doing it. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, good luck to you all in 2017. We'll see you next year.
Cheers.
Cheers.